Hey, how you doing? This is Tobias White with Interracial Love Reality Show. Check out my interview with BlackPressRadio.com.
Hey, this is your girl Safari from Flavor of Love Girls Charm School, and you're listening to BlackPressRadio.com.
This is Mr. Boston from VH1's I Love New York, and check out my interview at BlackPressRadio.com.
Yo, this is Ryan Fest. Check out my new interview on DC Live. BlackRadio.com.
Hey, what's up? This is your boy from Making the Grand Hustle Muscle. And if you want to listen to my interview, go to Black Press Radio. Holla.
Hey, this is Boots, a.k.a. Larissa Aurora from Flavor of Love and Charm School. Check out my interview on BlackPressRadio.com.
For BlackPressMagazine.com, I'm DC Livers. Well, we're following up on this story about the Interracial Love reality show. We've spoken already with Tobias White, and now we have on the line Tasha Jones. She is also the co-creator of the show. Tasha, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Now, listen, I understand that you're writing under Tasha. What's your real name?
Crystal Stroder.
Crystal Stroder, okay. So have you written shows before, or just tell us a little bit about your background and how you got to this point?
Okay. Well, my background is I am a closet creative writer. I've never really stepped out there and tried to put my work out there on a public level. So I just kind of took the chance and did some writings with Tobias, and we put it out there, and it's gotten a wonderful response. My background is nursing. I am not a trained writer. I'm not a trained producer or anything like that. I am a military woman. I spent many years in the military. So this is definitely a new arena for me.
Okay. So how did you and Tobias come up with the idea to come up with the Interracial Love Show?
Well, originally he, was, fussing about how the women always get dissed and, that kind of thing on the reality shows, and the black women are always the first to go, and you always have your one or two black women, and, you guessed it, they get voted off first. So I think that, it was a level of frustration with that and, wanting to clean up reality TV and show black women in a positive light.
Now, are you a black woman?
Oh, yes.
Okay. And are you in an interracial relationship right now?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I lived in Europe for 5 or 6 years, I think 5.5 years. And, the experience that I had with interracial relationships and, people just loving who they love, not because of skin color, but just because, it's a colorblind society over there. And I just really took note of that and said, you know what, we in America need to take note of that. We shouldn't be bound by, well, I want to stick to my race or, that kind of thing. I think, we should be able to, especially as black women, we always want to, respect and, we're holding out for that one good brother that's coming. And so I think, we need to start opening up and just, keeping an open mind about, who we love.
Okay, so then it kind of escalated to this really big situation right now where at some point there became an option for it to be on VH1. Talk a little bit about how that worked out.
What happened was we were shopping the show around, and, VH1 took an interest, and they sent the releases, and we signed them and sent back the treatment for the show. And a couple of days later, we got a call saying it just didn't fit what they were trying to accomplish at VH1. And that was pretty much, the long and short of it. And I had no idea that it had erupted into this big deal until I was, called and, told that it was indeed talked about on Tom Joyner this morning. I had no idea.
So who was on Tom Joyner? I missed that part.
I have no idea. It was just from what I heard, I'm hearing it secondhand, so I'm not even sure. I wasn't even listening this morning, and apparently a caller called in and talked about the show. I don't really know what was said, so I don't want to be misquoted. And just told me that it was the show was talked about this morning on Tom Joyner Morning Show. So I don't have any details of what was said because I was not listening.
Okay. I did briefly speak with Neil Foote, and I mentioned this earlier when I spoke with Tobias, that I spoke with Neil Foote. He is one of the people that does public relations for the Tom Joyner Morning Show. He has, of course, gone on now and started his own firm, his own communications company, but he kind of indicated to me that there was a caller and they talked with Tom and gave them the alert and mentioned that you guys were going to be speaking to me, and that's as much as I know. So I was just trying to get to the bottom of that because I usually try to stay out of those types of situations. But, I did agree to do the interviews, but I was just, I called them actually to try to find out if they knew more than I knew, and also in my verification process. Well, in that process also I received a statement from VH1 because I wanted to make sure that they got a chance to speak about the situation since their network was mentioned, and I got a response from them, so I want to read that to you now.
Okay, great.
Okay, so what they're saying is VH1 receives hundreds of unsolicited ideas for shows every week and has dozens of original programs in development. As is often the case, we immediately passed on this pitch because it does not make sense for the network at this time, but we are open, as always, to ideas that fit in with our music and pop culture focus. And that was from Mara Wozniak. She is the senior publicist for VH1 Communications in their New York office. And is that in keeping with what you thought was happening with VH1?
Well, that is, I have to say that is, I was just told, I was given the statement that it just wasn't in, keeping with what their programming, it didn't fit in with their programming. So, you just have to take it for what it is. I didn't, I made no more, no less of it, and I went on, to the next person.
So then what's the fuss? If VH1 says it's not in their fitting and you guys are saying that, well, that's too bad and we're moving on, why all the fuss? I mean, is it that you're upset that VH1 did not pick up the show? Are you is this a publicity stunt? Or?
I'm not one bit upset. I think it's coming more from a public outcry. One of their, from what I understand, like I said, I've kind of been out of pocket for personal reasons, as we discussed before. And, it showed up on the Internet, I guess, through one of their assistants who said the real reason they didn't pick up the show is because, the women weren't ghetto. It wasn't portraying black women as ghetto. And from that one comment, and I cannot confirm or deny, this is, on the Internet. I don't know who wrote it,